Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Joe.
And we are in an age gap relationship.
Yes, we are, if you couldn't tell already by looking at us.
You may know us from the UK television show Age Gap Love. We were in season 2, episode 1.
And at least 100 people saw that, so you may be one of those 100.
We also run a website called MayDecemberSociety.com, which is a website that's for anyone who's in an age gap relationship, or those who are interested in an age gap relationship, or interested in the idea of one. We received a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
A lot of people want to know either about us, or asking for advice about age gap relationships, or the ones they're in, or how to get in one, things like that. Our first video is going to be more about questions for the both of us, so we can kind of introduce ourselves to you guys.
So you have some questions?
Yes. What is your age gap?
What do you think?
Well, our age gap is 40 years.
40? Really? It's
Yep.
39 years the last time I checked. She's rounding it up.
I like to round it up.
Okay, so we'll go with 40, but it's really not. It's 39 years, to be exact.
Yep.
Okay. When we met, I was 60, and Angela was 21. Ooh, 21.
And that brings us to our next question.
Okay.
How did you meet? Well, we met behind a movie theater.
Yes, I had come down from New York to do a film, and Angela was in the cast, and that's really how we met. When we were behind the movie theater, it was an early Sunday morning where we were doing interviews for a local CBS affiliate. And I noticed Angela sitting in a chair just relaxing, quite lovely. But her knees were all bandaged up, and I was wondering what's going on here. So I asked her, and she told me that the day before she had been filming in a field, and she was tossed around, and she had been banged up and things of that nature. And I was very much concerned, because my experience in doing film and television in New York, there were always wrestling mats and things like that. And I asked her about that, and she said, no, they didn't have anything like that. Well, I became a little bit upset.
Yeah, you spoke to the director, and ever since then I had mats. Amazingly, I had mats for the rest of my scenes, so
that's right.
He definitely saved me in that department. When we first met, I had thought that he was quite attractive and charming. You know, the way he spoke and the way he showed concern.
Old. Right, yeah.
The way he showed concern for me.
Aww.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
So we happened to be on set again for a weekend shoot, and that's when we really started talking to each other. There was a lot of downtime. Whew, I think the pheromones were going nuts there.
Yeah, that was fun. That was great.
Even one of our cast members ended up taking a photo of us together, strangely enough.
Where there was a photo and you were looking over at me. I was in a scene and you were helping them out, doing a sound boom or something.
Oh yeah, there's another photo. I was doing sound, and you could see Joe in the distance, like getting ready for a scene, and then me with sound on, like kind of just watching him.
She's watching me. Wow.
It's kind of creepy looking, but.
And then after Angela was finished with her filming that day, she was sticking around, and I was so glad, because I saw her in the background. I thought she had left for the day. I even asked someone where she had gone. You know, it's kind of like cutesy stuff. I asked her, have they gone? They said, well, she went with so-and-so to get something to eat for the cast. And she came back, so I knew she'd still be around, and that was fun. You know those feelings you get when you're interested in someone? You can go back years and think of those special feelings that you get. Well, you get them when you're older too, you know, and that was really fun.
So at the end of that day, Joe kind of asked me out, like just to hang out later, and
yeah. I did.
Actually, that night I was packing up to go on a trip to my cousin's wedding, so I couldn't. So I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I can't." I don't know if he thought I was kind of rejecting him or whatever. After I come back and like a week had gone by, I ended up asking him out to dinner, and because I was around, you know, so I said, "Hey, you want to go to dinner?" You know, like it was that moment.
Like she was around, like she's around the corner.
And of course I come out of the car like in a dress, you know, and heels, like
5-inch heels, and I'm like, whoa, look at this. She's an Amazon model or something, and she, you know, comes up gorgeous, of course, as you can see, and we had a great time.
And we've been together ever since.
Ever since, yeah.
The next question, which is sort of related to getting together, how did your families react?
All of my family is located in the north. We live in Florida now. What I should have said is when I was acting in New York, came here to do this film where I met Angela, and after meeting her, well, I decided to stay in. This is where I live now. My son knows Angela, and my brother-in-law has met her, and they both like her, but that's it. And so I don't hear a lot from my family regarding Angela other than how's she doing, you know, and that kind of thing. So they don't really know her.
So basically his answer is they don't care. Or maybe...
Yeah, but they care, but they're not saying anything. Your family lives here, so it's a lot different. So I think her side is probably much more interesting than mine.
I'm lucky enough that my family is very accepting. They kind of already knew that I had interest in older men because I was pretty open about it. I was open about when I would get a crush on like an older guy or older celebrity, and they never discouraged me. They were just kind of like, well, you know, that's what you like. I don't get it, but that's what you like. So when Joe entered the picture, it wasn't like a huge surprise. I would say most of my family, like my immediate family, was very happy for me. I think they could see the change in me because I became like so much happier with Joe. And I think they're very appreciative of Joe, like just making me come out of my shell a little bit. So I think they love Joe, and they definitely love Joe.
That's
and
sweet.
So I'm very lucky for that. I've heard a couple things like distant family, but you know, they don't really matter. So I don't care.
Ouch.
Well, you know, I just don't care. People I never was really close to in the first place. Whatever, you know, I don't talk to them anyway, so screw them.
Yeah, well, you know, for me, if people have a negative opinion of our relationship, they're really not going to say anything to me. Our next question is, who is more bothered by the age gap?
I think when we're together, neither one of us is bothered by the age gap. I'll speak for both of us.
I think that's fair.
We're just, you know, in our own lives, just living our lives.
And we're really not around other people, it's just us. So it's just a relationship.
So we don't notice it, yeah. But I guess when we're out, I notice the looks that we get, but I'm not bothered by it. Seeing as I did pursue him, I was expecting something like that, expecting a reaction. It's just something that comes with the territory.
Now, sometimes when we're out, I am very much aware of my surroundings. Well, I always have been. But I'm looking and I notice people who see us and regard us, and probably unfavorably. I don't know. I don't ask them. And maybe I'll see them speak to whomever they're with, make comments. And often when we are in a restaurant, what I find amusing is that when a waitress comes up and she says something to drink, and she looks at Angela and she says, I'll have a Pepsi. And then, you know, I'll have wine or something like that. And then I start to think, well, I wonder if they think I'm her dad. You know what I mean? It just seems like that's kind of that kind of situation. So Angela, of course, will go out of her way to prove that she isn't. And it's kind of funny. But that's where I notice it the most, is restaurants. And we have a funny story about that.
This happened Valentine's Day of last year. We're all dressed to the nines, you know, going on our Valentine's Day night dinner. We're so excited. So we go up to the hostess. We're, you know, kind of cuddled together. You know, I got my arm on his. You know, we're just looking cute, you know, looking adorable. And then she says, will that be 3 of you? And we're like,
well, what is she talking about?
3? And we kind of look around, we look behind us. 9 feet behind us by the door, like, is this woman that's more appropriate to Joe's age?
Yeah, an older lady, I guess the mother figure standing in the back. This lady, we had no idea who she is. We had to tell her, no, just the 2 of us.
Yeah, I guess she thought that, you know, Valentine's Day night and the dad is really close to the daughter or something.
Really close to the daughter.
Next question is kind of a deeper question, I guess. What is the most difficult aspect of being in an age gap relationship?
Difficult?
Mm-hmm. Wow. I know what the most difficult thing is for me. It's something that everyone in an age gap relationship has to face, and I think that's knowing that you've found the love of your life, but unlike someone who's not in an age gap relationship, you don't get to spend 50 years with them or 40 years. You know you're not going to be able to spend your life with that person.
So you consciously think of that? I mean, that's in the back of your mind.
It's not necessarily in the back of my mind. I just try to live the best I can, just enjoy every moment I have, because I know that I will, in all likelihood, have to spend the rest of my life without him, which is honestly very horrible thing.
Well, people are living longer. I could trick you in being around till I'm 100 and something.
It's true. I mean, he could outlive me.
Probably
But
true.
you just don't have the, I guess, confidence of knowing. But to me, spending, 30 years with someone or however long with someone who you love is so much better than just saying, oh, well, screw it, I'm not going to be able to spend the rest of my life with them. Why would it matter? It's worth every moment.
Yeah,
what would you say is the most difficult aspect for you in being in an age gap relationship?
It's no different than any other relationship. It's dealing with the personality over here. It is the same thing. It doesn't matter if she's younger or older. She has her own mind, her own opinions. It's just like any other relationship. It really is. Where you run into the differences is when you're out of the comfort zone. When we leave the house and we go to that restaurant or we go to a store, it can be uncomfortable, maybe. We have stories where we were shopping. Angela was trying some clothes on once, and I'm giving her these dresses and she's trying them on, and then this lady gets this dress down and she brings it. She says, oh, this is a nice homecoming dress. So she just assumed that I'm her dad out getting her a dress, she had no clue what was going on. That can be a little uncomfortable and pretty funny. I think of this as a relationship. The age gap situation presents itself to me away from the home, and it's not really bothersome. Sometimes it's humorous.
Okay, now this is going to be our final question. Now this one, we're going to give credit to the person who asked it. So this question comes from CM Chick. She says, hi guys, I just found your page today. My wife and I have a 30-year age difference, but we have no compatibility difference. I was so glad to see that there are more people out there who love each other and age is not an issue. Is there a point that you feel is too big of an age gap for two people to be compatible? If so, then what is that point? I would say that as long as it's a legal relationship, then I don't think there is too big of an age gap. You're talking to someone who's in a relationship with an almost 40-year age gap, so to say that I think there's some arbitrary line that makes the age gap too big, it would be hypocritical of me. But even if I wasn't, I just don't think there is. I don't think that it matters whether it's a 20-year-old dating a 60-year-old or a 30-year-old dating an 80-year-old, I think that compatibility doesn't have to do with the age. Compatibility has to do with the person.
Yeah, and different people get different things out of a relationship. If you made an example of an 80-year-old and a 30-year-old, now if the woman is 30-year-old and the guy's 80-year-old, you're going to hear gold digger and all of that kind of thing. But what if that 30-year-old, she makes him so happy that he wants her around all the time? Well, who are we to say, to judge on that? I mean, these are relationships. They're individuals. Mm-hmm. And for as long as we are all individuals, there are going to be different opinions of everything. I think you're right. I don't think there is an age gap that is too great.
So what do you guys think, though? Do you think that there is an age gap that is too big? If so, what do you think it is? Do you think it's 30 years, 40 years, 50 years?
They may think ours is too large after watching this.
Just let us know, comment below. So that's all for the questions today. We received so many questions and we're happy to answer all of them. We'll give you full credit for your question, or you can send them in anonymously, either way. And it can be about advice that you need with your own relationship, or questions about us, whatever.
Or you can give us advice, whatever you want to do.
If you have a question that is urgent, that you want answered right away, then you have to go to maydecembersociety.com. There is a huge community of people on there that will answer your question immediately, and we're on there as well. That's where you can get us to respond pretty fast. These videos will come around maybe once a week, but we're always available to help on our website. If you're in an age gap relationship or you want to know a little bit more about them, go to the website.
Join and contribute if you want, or just read the articles and read the comments that others have made. And you'll find it a very nice community. The people are great.
We love seeing pictures of couples and hearing success stories. So, if you're an age gap couple, we'd love to have you. We'd love to talk to you. Join the community.
That's right. Join the community. So we'll see you, I guess, the next time with maybe some of your questions.
Bye from Joe and Angela.
Bye-bye.
maydecembersociety.com.